Good morning. Hello. Not how I expected that to start. Thanks for clicking on this video. Not really sure what my plan for this video is or this channel, but just wanted to open it up to say that I have epilepsy. I have focalized as well as generalized seizures, and if you clicked on this video, you may know what that means. If not, I might have some videos on it upcoming or delve into the topics just kind of from a bird's eye view in this video. But really the purpose of this video that I have determined is just to share my history with epilepsy, my family history with epilepsy and seizures, and really I believe that's it. I mean, if you hear some ticking going on, there's all kinds of construction and people driving by since I live downtown. But okay, so I'll start this out to say that I am about 25 years old, and almost 25 years old, and so I have been having what you would call the focalized seizures since I was 12. So being a woman, a lot of women who have epilepsy and seizures actually have catamenial hormonal seizures. So depending on the time of the month, progesterone is a known anticonvulsant hormone, since apparently at the time of the ancient Greeks, they knew about this connection. Depending on the time of the month, you can have an increase in your seizure activity. So for me, that was the case, and I knew about that quite young. Now, not only did I have this, strange symptoms of these focal seizures, where I would just kind of see something weird that I had seen before but I couldn't recognize, which now I know is a deja vu symptom. A symptom where I was sometimes like smelling or feeling sensory feelings, but just kind of feeling disconnected for no more than like 20 or 30 seconds. Not only was I experiencing that, I was just experiencing some mood issues, which is common for epileptics, common for teenagers. Just kind of going through that and going through that seizure activity for me, I couldn't really distinguish it from maybe like a flashback or an anxiety attack. I was like, this is probably a mental health issue. So I experienced that from 12 to all through high school. I would go into the bathroom in high school and the lights would change, and I would just feel that weird air pressure change. And that, maybe some people can relate to this, because I have heard people say that entering like a Walmart or a bathroom just would make me have this weird sensation, and it's never debilitating, you know what I mean? It's just kind of a weird, transient mental headspace. It's kind of an interesting space to be in, sort of comfortable. So that's why I felt like, is this just a panic attack where I'm going into my safe space mentally? I don't really understand it, but okay, I'm just gonna let my feeling take hold. I'm a teenager at this time, 16, 17, 18, and I'm starting to realize at around 18 or 19 that I can't really control whether this happens or not. So I was like, not only that, it seems to happen even if I'm not upset. So it's kind of putting a hole in the mental health theory that this is a mental health symptom purely. I'm like, well, when I'm telling myself, okay, I'd rather not have this symptom right now, let's breathe through it, I had no control over whether or not the seizure was going to complete, like trying to hold in a sneeze that I couldn't hold in, and I would be completely happy. Like, I would literally just be out with my friends, having a great time, or I'd just be home relaxing. I'm like, hey, why am I going through this? You know what I mean? So my only explanation is this a trauma, PTSD, that I really don't understand, I'm extremely disconnected from? No clue. So 18 and 19, I'm getting my associates. Then I transfer to university, and I'm doing a lot of virtual school, because obviously COVID hits during the time when I'm receiving my bachelor's. And I'm taking, these Zoom calls where in my program, I was required to do a lot of interviewing. And I would start to experience the symptom while I was recording myself and interviewing people, which was extremely frustrating. And I would go back and I'm like, I don't really know where it happened. I can't tell. I'm just sitting there in the whole video. That was a frustrating symptom when I was about 20, 21. Then a really scary symptom happened. And this was on a day that I drank a lot of coffee. I had been really crushing it hard in school. So stress, caffeine, no sleep, all seizure triggers, that I'm having a lot of. It's nonstop all day. I hadn't really had so many cluster seizures. Now I know that they're called. I was researching on Reddit. I'm like, what the hell? I have this anxiety problem where I'm looking at people that have experienced anxiety, where you see something that you'd seen before and deja vu. And what really scared me is that I smelled something burning. And my mom had told me that, when I was a kid, if you smell something burning hair, that means you're having a stroke. Or really, I was like, there's something wrong with my brain. You know what I mean? And then I found someone on Reddit say that if you're smelling something and feeling this weird symptom, it could be a focal seizure in your temporal lobe. So, I want to just speed past everything from there. I mean, I won't belabor it, but yeah, pretty much I was like, God damn, this is probably what it is. I tell my friend who I'm studying with, in the study room that we'd rented out, I'm like, dude, what the fuck, this thing I'm going through, it really matches up with this. I end up getting an MRI because they're smelling something and all of these other symptoms. It could be some sign that you have a cut or a tumor. So I'm like, oh Lord, I got an MRI. They're like, your MRI is fine, very normal for people with epilepsy to have no structural cause for epilepsy and seizures, which is what my MRI said. I think it's more than half that have nothing in their brain that would physically indicate. So after I found out I don't have a tumor, I pretty much stopped really giving a fuck. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, you know what? I do some research. It's not that I stopped giving a fuck. I do some research and people are like, you might just have these weird focal seizures and never have a, grand mal. But you very much are walking yourself down a dangerous path. It's not that I don't give a fuck, and I'm going to be kind on myself here, which is why I made this channel. It's that I was going through school. I funded myself through college, paid all my own bills, bills and rent and all that stuff. And basically, this cat, I'm glad he's jumped away from me now. I just didn't really see it in my schedule or I didn't have PTO to request this time off for an EEG that's going to cost money that might not even show that I have epilepsy. So an EEG is the only way that you can diagnose epilepsy. Have I had an EEG that's shown me have a seizure? No. How many grand mounts have I had in front of my family? 3. So in my first one, I'm traveling. I see my cousin graduate high school. My goodness, my voice is hoarse. And the day before her high school graduation, we were sitting at the breakfast table. Of course, I don't remember what happens. You don't know what happens when you have a grand mal. You just wake up at the hospital or on the floor. Or in the ambulance, like I did. I woke up in the ambulance and I put my tongue through my teeth and I don't have no damn teeth. I'm like, oh my God, where are my teeth? I look in between my legs, there's a Ziploc bag of milk and I squeeze it. There are my freaking 2 bottom teeth. And yes, they're in there now with a retainer in the back because you can put your teeth back in. I didn't know that. There were my teeth in a bag. I was like, Lord, have mercy. So I'm sitting in there in the ambulance with my brother and the EMT. And he's like, do you have seizures? Have you had seizures before? I'm like, I thought that I may have had epilepsy. I got an MRI. You know what I mean? And they're like, was it normal? I'm like, yeah. I was like, So that's pretty much the discussion we have there. They do all kinds of tests at the at the emergency room, and they, you know, IV me on Keppra, which I'm still on to this day, an anti-epileptic drug. You know, from there, that was my first seizure, June 2023. My second one was February of this year, on a plane before takeoff. Had lots of coffee, you know, I forgot my medication. This is before I really knew how important those things were. Of course, now I don't drink any coffee, don't drink any alcohol, take my medication right on time. But let's just say my most recent one, I thought I had gotten good enough sleep, taken all the precautions. My most recent one, I guess, was a week ago, in front of my grandparents, my boyfriend, my mom, my brothers, at an Indian restaurant. So it's just like, I didn't even know it had happened, you know, until much later. You know, my boyfriend is telling me, I'm like, wait, was I shaking? He's like, I had never had, you know, a convulsive seizure in front of my boyfriend, and it's just like, really, like, why? You know, I do everything I can, and it's so fucking frustrating, you know? I'm just gonna be changing medications or getting a surgery or just taking gambles on things. But the point of this is not to be like, woe is me, down that depression spiral that everybody with epilepsy has been on before. It's really just to say, like, this is the story, because I mean, I find it really kind of satisfying to listen to other people's stories, not to say that you're like, wow, thanks for sharing that really satisfying story after watching this. But, you know, just to have it out there and maybe encourage other people too, you know, hopefully, and just kind of reach out if you have a channel like this, because I find it interesting personally. But thank you for listening, you know. Expect more to come, probably not this long, but just kind of general day in the life stories. But thank you.